Rilwan, thank you very much for joining me today. How are you doing? How's the weather in Houston?
Today is actually pretty gloomy compared to like other days. It's typically a lot brighter.
Mhm.
But today is gloomy, not the worst thing in the world. I'm sure tomorrow will be a brighter day, so no complaints.
So, if you don't mind, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about what's your journey. How did you end up in insurance?
Yeah. So I'm Rowan Lawal, the founder and CEO of gigEasy. I have a very what I would call interesting journey into insurance. I was led here through a series of other businesses that I was involved in that sort of brought me to this point. I started a company. I used to work at the Boeing company, and I started a rental arbitrage business. So we would partner with Airbnb landlords to relist their properties on Airbnb, and we noticed a gap with cleaning
Mhm.
where it was hard to find cleaners to service Airbnb properties. So me and my co-founders built a startup around that problem. It was essentially a marketplace that connects Airbnb homeowners with cleaning contractors called New. So we scaled that. And then I joined another company building Uber for school buses out of New York. So a lot of like gig economy things, and I was very very active on the ops side. Had a lot of conversation with supply side workers, and I noticed the gap of insurance benefits, and it stuck with me why they hadn't been a system in place to service gig workers, especially considering the fact that this is essentially becoming the new way of work. A lot of people are leaving the traditional W-2 employment to sort of become independent. And then also experiencing like building a marketplace, being able to insure a lot of gig workers on the job. That was something that I felt was very difficult, archaic, not very straightforward. So a lot of these learnings came from those experiences. And, I decided to dive headfirst into insurance. Any problem that's hard is any problem worth solving, no matter how hard or easy it is. If it solves a big problem for a large demographic, it's worth it. So, dove in headfirst, got all my licenses, learned about insurance, and here we are today.
Wow. Whoa. Whoa. Okay. Wait. But hold your horses. It's like, so basically, you're telling me the classic story of any entrepreneur. It's like, well, I recognize a problem. I recognize a pain. I thought, here's the solution. Voila. There you go. Now we need to sell it. So, no, listen, that's how most of entrepreneurs. There is now I'm supporting another company in the space. They are doing claims financing, and it's all started with a story, a pain. It's all started by there was a claim. It took a long time until they saw the first check. There you realize the arbitrage between the different elements, and now you have a good business case, and from there you have a company, which is fantastic. So, how long have you been in business?
About 18 months.
18 months. So, Gig Easy, you provide benefits to gig workers.
Yeah.
Did I
So,
get it right?
so we're essentially building insurance infrastructure
Mm-hmm.
for the gig economy. So on the commercial side, we partner with businesses that employ contractors to provide them with on-demand insurance to cover them on the job. And then for the gig workers, we provide them with benefits to protect them and their families on a day-to-day basis.
What type of benefits?
So our flagship product is a product called Rent Protect. It's a form of disability that covers your rent and any other expenses if you're sick or injured and can't work. And then we have health insurance, dental, vision, and we're rolling out a sick pay product in a couple months.
Congratulations. And today
Thank
you're
you.
acting as the distribution for the providers, as an agent. How are you getting a commission or a flat fee?
Yeah, so we're structured as a broker, so we serve as a distribution partner for the insurance companies.
Okay, great. How easy or hard was it to get appointment and access to those benefit providers, program providers?
Um, I would say I think insurance companies are recognizing the growth potential and the
Mm-hmm.
shift with the gig economy. A lot of insurance providers are actively looking to see how they can participate in the gig economy. So I would say it's actually been pretty easy. We've actually been pretty selective with the insurance companies we work with, because we understand the specific type of benefits that we want to provide to these gig workers,
Mm-hmm.
and if we essentially designed what we wanted, and then we shopped around for insurance companies that have something similar so that we can provide it to the gig workers. So it's been pretty easy.
Now, I'm less familiar with that space, and that's why I'm asking you these stupid questions. Because when I'm
No,
looking at
no stupid question.
when I'm looking at the PNC world, right? You have about, well, I had that conversation with Jason Kess recently. 40,000 agencies, about 200 licensed agents, and basically you have a very long tail. Now, because not everyone can go to any carrier, on average you have 11 appointments. Not everyone can go to a carrier and say, hey, I would like to sell your product, because they cannot really manage them. And let's put aside all the captive and exclusive agents networks. So hence you have all the wholesalers, you have the groups, you have all kinds of different cluster solutions. How does it work in the benefit side?
Um, it's pretty much the same thing, honestly. I think there are a bunch of agencies that are selling to businesses on the benefit side. So what they're doing is they're partnering with, say, a business that employs, you know, let's call it 10,000 people or 5,000 people, and then they sell uh, benefits to these companies. But then there's this huge gap of individuals. So there aren't a lot of agents or like tech forward agencies that are specifically focused on individuals. There's a gap there because a lot of people are focused on the benefits that are provided to companies where the company is subsidizing it for the workers. But then there's this shift happening, right? A lot of people are shifting from that to the individual side, but the individual side doesn't have as many agencies that are focused on that. And that's sort of where gigEasy steps in.
Okay, you stepped in and you provide them with what's extra. How come you need to
Yeah.
be there and none of the incumbent distribution channels can cover it?
Yeah. I mean, so these plans, they exist and they're distributed, right, across different companies. So if I was a gig worker, or let's say I was a W-2 worker, and I walked into a company. As soon as I was onboarded into the company, maybe I would get an email from TriNet or ADP or Gusto or something, and then I would go in, put in my first name, last name, a bunch of information, and I would select my health, dental, vision, all in one portal, and I would get signed up instantaneously. That doesn't exist for individuals. So once you leave the confines of an employer, you have to figure all of that for yourself, right? You have to figure out, okay, who's the health insurance company I need to talk to? So I go and I sign up for that. Who is the dental company I need to sign up with? And I go and I sign up for that. Same thing for vision, same thing for rent protect or disability in some people's cases, or sick pay. So it's this super, you know, um, broken out system that we're sort of aggregating under one umbrella so that we can replicate the same onboarding flow as they would get in the event that they were working with an employer.
I love that, because at the end of the day, you say, all the insurance stuff, leave it to us. It's behind the scenes. We'll take care of it. And most of your focus is all about that gig worker. You know, where are they? What they do? Most of them don't even interact with, I don't know, with the only interaction that they have with the internet will be most likely from their Android or iPhone device. And then they will need to figure out, it's like, okay, I'm a subcontractor, or what another good example for a gig worker? Someone is
Yeah,
doing something, and
yeah.
apparently I need
1099.
insurance. Yeah. Everyone.
freelancer.
Yeah, listen, everyone. Yeah, I'm a 1099, but different
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, I would say that most of my physical work will be lifting my coffee or boarding a plane. So you've been operating for 8, 9 months.
18 months.
18. Okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. 18.
How much money did you raise? And what's the size of the team?
Yeah, so we're out of a venture studio called Platform Venture Studio. So they've
Mm-hmm.
been backing us on this endeavor. They're a team made up of mostly like previous gig economy VCs and founders. And yeah, I've been fortunate enough to get funding from the get go. I've raised about 650K. We're a small, agile, super dedicated team of four that are putting everything together, and we have access to additional talent through the venture studio.
So I assume the venture studio builds the technology and you're building the business and doing all the marketing and the relationships and all the things that go with that side?
We build the technology. They provide us with all types of support, fundraising support, partnership support. So we've closed some interesting partnerships in the last couple of months. That's the venture studio has been very instrumental in helping put that together. They helped us with a lot of our initial thesis and research around how we want to tackle this problem because it's a really big problem, right? There are so many different angles
Mm-hmm.
that you could take to tackle the problem. We're able to narrow it down and even like do our product design and market research with them. So
Yeah, that's interesting because I've seen all kinds of different permutations of venture studios between those that will come, oh, just come in, we'll give you the engineering time and that will be our investment, to those that are a little bit bigger and then their venture studio is, I would say, for growth. So that's their focus. So if you are at the stage that you have at least I don't know, 5 million at EBITDA. That's where they're stepping in. So completely off the charts from what most people think about. It's interesting to see how different companies use the title for, because the studio is a little bit open-ended, in my opinion.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I really think it's a courting process, right? So like
Mm-hmm.
you have to be able to find a venture studio that aligns with your goals and what you're trying to accomplish. I was very intentional about working with a venture studio when we decided to build a company in this space. I talked to a lot of venture studios and I narrowed down to the one that I felt like was a fit for what we were trying to accomplish. So it's been a good relationship so far. I think when it comes to partnerships, right? Um, you know, uh, these gig platforms they exist, right? And they're taking over in the sense that gig platforms are popping up in every vertical that you can imagine. If you think of any type of job out there, there's probably a gig platform that's popping up to sort of service that demographic. Uber has
Mm-hmm.
sort of they've set up a blueprint for what the future of work looks like. So they did driving, and Instacart came up with shopping, DoorDash
Yep.
came up with like food delivery, and then now every other vertical is just sort of being taken over by technology. And a lot of these technology companies, when they think of insurance, they think of they lump it together with sort of financial services. And when you think of banking, banking has sort of been productized to the point where you could sort of embed debit cards or payment solutions or any of that, just really seamlessly. And the expectation is that they want to have that same experience when it comes to insurance.
Mm-hmm.
That's sort of like where we are, you know, building that, I guess, technology facing infrastructure to give those gig platforms the seamless expectations that they demand from, other parts of their business. They don't want the headache of integrating and talking to like 10 different people and 10 different underwriters and all of those things. So we're making a lot of that seamless from a partnership experience. From a growth experience, all our platforms that we're partnering with are growing. So, we're hoping to to be the ones that sort of latch on to that growth and continue to grow and scale from there.
So I assume that, oh, I hate calling that, using that jargon, but so the customer journey, I assume that everything is on a website. Maybe, do you have a mobile application or is it
Yeah, we
responsive?
have a web responsive web application that users could sort of sign up for. They only have to put in their information one time, and then they could purchase a full suite of policies across health, dental, vision, rent protect, and soon to come sick pay.
Out of curiosity, if you can share that information, how do they reach you? Do they reach you from mobile devices or websites?
It's through our website or mobile. It's a responsive platform, but they usually hear about us through their gig platforms.
Oh, no, no. What I'm talking about. So, not in terms of what's the lead or who is generating the lead for you.
Hmm.
More about, I was just curious about, you know, do they sit at home? Are they on the job? Is it on the, or is it only on weekdays or weekends that they actually have an opportunity to think about the insurance and benefits that they need? Because there is a big difference between, you do everything from the phone because you're on the go all the time versus you have time and it's Sunday. So in after, Sunday afternoon, you have finally time to open your laptop and check for insurance and benefits, right? Now, in terms of the marketing and the lead generation, that can be a very interesting question to understand how do you actually market yourself and generate your customers, but one thing at a time. So,
Yeah, I think it's a huge variation, right? So like for example, one thing that we found that was very interesting was like people on the trucking side, they would rather talk to us, while they're working, right? So we have a phone line. It's not our preferred method for signing up individuals, but the truckers, they love it because they're on the road, 17 hours, 10, 15 hours a day. They're happy to talk to someone on the phone. A lot of our other users, they sign up, just on a regular ongoing basis. There's no separation between weekdays and weekends. I think for the most part, when they think about rent protect, because when we were building out this product, we designed our product based off of pain points that gig workers face. So as a gig worker, if you're sick or injured, your income stops immediately, right? And you could, as a W-2 worker, you could take time off from work and still get paid. As a gig worker, once your income stops, it's more so, okay, how do I make rent the next month if you're living paycheck to paycheck or potentially paycheck to paycheck. So once they get those messaging around, cover your rent for up to 6 months in the event that you're sick or injured and can't work, it ties into a fear or an anxiety that they faced at some point in the past couple months, if maybe they almost got injured or they got injured or they heard about someone getting injured and how it affected their life. So they sort of want to sign up immediately.
how do you reach them? How do you generate leads and convert them into customers?
Yeah, so the relationship is directly with the gig platforms. Our market strategy is essentially B2B to C. So a lot of these gig platforms, they sometimes have retention goals. They want to provide something that keeps gig workers on their platform longer. Some of them have corporate responsibility goals. They want to show their workers that they care, that they're there for them, and they care about their well-being. And then the new development is, regulation. So it's going to start trickling down, but mandated benefits for gig workers is coming. So for any of those multitude of reasons, we partner with these gig platforms, and then they
Mhm.
share our services to their workers, whether through um, internal blasts, in-app notifications, or adding us to their onboarding flow.
Okay, so what is the other side of your business?
Yeah, so the commercial side of things is our pay-as-you-go occupational accident insurance, workers' comp, and general liability. So
Okay.
um, a lot of these platforms that are popping up, they have these mandated insurance services that they need to tack on to their um, their gig workers on the job. And what
I'm
typically
I'm
happens is,
I'm sorry.
go ahead,
How many licenses do you have?
I have everything.
You have everything. It sounds it sounds like it. And are
Yeah,
you in how many states?
all 50 states.
All 50 states. You have
Yes,
life, health, PNC. It sounds like it.
yes.
Okay, you are covered from wall to wall. Okay, okay, wonderful. And you've been active 18 months. May I ask how much did you sell so far?
Uh, still keeping those numbers
It's
in-house, but we're growing. We're
That's fine.
growing pretty aggressively. We're super excited about that.
That's fine. You don't need to share that information. It's fine. I was just, you know, that's I've seen all kinds of different approaches that rolling. Let's You're now in Texas, so people who start only in one state and growing up because licenses cost. Although
Yeah,
for agents they cost less than to MGAs and carriers, but it's okay. You went like, this is what we're going to do. It needs to be a package, a full bundle. Otherwise, it will not fly. Good job.
yeah.
I love entrepreneurs that lean into it.
Thank you, thank
Cool.
you. I think the problem with that is, and this ties back into what the future of work is essentially. Like if you're building a Uber for ice cream or something,
Mm-hmm.
Uber for ice cream delivery or Uber for vitamin delivery or whatever the case may be, typically you start in one state and then you expand aggressively into other states, right? You don't want to be in a position where every time you expand, you're looking for a new insurance broker or a new insurance relationship to get started. You would rather just partner with one person that has a presence in all 50 states. A lot of people outside insurance, they don't realize that insurance is regulated individually, right? It's not
Mm-hmm.
like a SaaS product where you could just build a software, put it online, and it's instantly available in all 50 states. So,
Uh,
we're doing all the back end work to make sure that they don't have to deal with that reality.
so that's the other side of the business. Part of that bundle that you sell your customers. How that comes to fruition? What do you sell them, and how do they use it? Or hopefully they
Yeah.
don't
So,
use it because that will be a claim.
yeah, so there's on these gig platforms, there's different segments of people. There are the people that bring in their workers as 1099s, and on the job so what typically happens is they don't want to purchase monthly plans because
Mm-hmm.
there's a large fluctuation in the amount of workers on their platform, so they'd rather do pay as you go, which is what we're offering them. So occupational accident insurance for their 1099s on the go, and then if you have a part-time W-2 workers, you can offer them on-demand workers' comp as well, or general liability, depending on what the people that you're sending the workers to work at. Some of them have different requirements. Some people require general liability. Some people require workers' comp. So whatever your needs are as a platform to be able to send your gig workers out to sites or for jobs, or we're able to provide that to you on the commercial side.
How much is the resolution that when it's on the go? Is it by the hour, by a day? How low can you
Yeah.
go?
Yeah, so we customize it, so it can either be broken down to per hour, per shift, or per gig.
Oh wow! Because a gig, well, a gig is it's how much time is a gig, or basically
Yeah,
how much
yeah,
risk is a gig? Because at the end of the day, you're asking for you. Well, is it for you? No, it's not for you. It's for the carrier. The question of the risk that you are feeding them. It's for your underwriting. For you, it's more about can you sell and can later on can you retain the customer. Are you keeping do you own the customer or you're sending it to the carrier?
we're the connection between the customer and the carrier, because we we are plugged into their systems to be able to provide all that data, to be able to price, and then share with the insurance companies.
So I assume that most of the carriers that or the program providers that you work with, they have an API so you can do everything on the go.
Well, that's part of the process, right? That's the value that we also provide, right? Being that connection. We own that development, right? Connecting
Mm-hmm.
the gig platform with the insurance companies. A lot of the insurance companies don't have APIs, or if they do, they're
Yeah.
in the early stages of developing it. So we're that technology bridge to connect the gig platforms with the insurance companies.
So that's your added value, your technology bridge. You tap into the basically you are the distribution channel, and somehow, somewhere, given your business development and partnership development, you manage to bring in good risk, hopefully, at a lower customer cost of acquisition, customer
Yes.
acquisition cost. Yeah, cool, wonderful. Hey, listen, if you take that and you scale it, and the future of work looks and will be more and more gig because employers can't afford full-time employees, they are too expensive, that's the way to go. So I
Yeah.
wonder how
Yeah.
is that, I wonder, when we think about that, I wonder how is that going to impact the structure of the conventional family or the households. Yeah. Okay. Not for this conversation. A different one because listen, marriage or family or household, it's a type of a financial partnership, and the benefits, it's part of it. And once you have dependencies, if it's your kids, your parents, or others, it has an impact. And if you are a 1099, and if you are the only 1099 and there is no W2, it makes things a little bit more complicated. But
Yeah.
wait until your Series A or Series B when you start to talk about growth, then start to look into that philosophy and what does it mean to
Yeah.
add the entire household and not just the specific person. Again,
Oh, just
you're
yeah, just for context, we're already doing that. Um, yeah, so you can when you purchase our plan, you can add dependents. You can add your spouse, you can add your children
you
on our
say I
plan.
was just setting it up for you, right? That's what I do. Anyway,
That's
uh,
awesome.
let's start to wrap it up. So let me ask you the same question or a similar question to what I'm asking everyone. Can you give another entrepreneur or the younger you, younger by 18 months, an advice?
Um, I think so 18 months ago.
Well, basically before you started the business. Or it can be to any other entrepreneur who wants to step into this space.
In insurance or any other space,
Doesn't
because that
matter.
that that doesn't matter. Okay, I would
Doesn't
say
matter.
that if you're I think if you're going into insurance, you need to know how to learn how to exercise a lot of patience.
Mhm.
The insurance industry is very unique to other industries, due to the fact that it's one of the oldest industries in the world, and a lot of systems are built on top of each other. So there are a lot of clogs that you need to sort of be able to maneuver and power through as a tech company. It's not going to be as easy as building a tool that helps people analyze, I don't know, XYZ better. But it's also a huge opportunity. I think the insurance space has a lot of growth potential. So it's definitely a space to explore. Um, so it's definitely worth it. You just need to exercise a lot of patience to see things through.
My dear friend, thank you very, very,
Yeah,
very, very much for joining me today.
yeah. Thanks for having me. I had fun.
That's the idea. We don't really want to have too much work. Otherwise, we need to make sure that we keep it light, happy, because why would you want to work in something that you suffer? Nah,
Yeah.
that's for another day. Cool, man. Have a good one.
Okay. All right. You as well.